Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Rank Class. This week I will be talking about Denmark, and if you think I'm gonna do a propaganda piece about how great Denmark is, the place I live, then you are wrong. I will be talking about Denmark in a way where I will talk about some of the good stuff and the bad stuff, and I'm sure you will be able to listen to this and find something that you see where you live that matches the stuff that I talk about. And I'm not ungrateful for where I live. I do love to live in Denmark, and it does have a lot of good in it, but there's also some spotty sides where you go like, this makes no sense. So let's start. Denmark is known around the world for being the place with the most happy people. For years we have been on the top 3 of most happy people around the world. But what makes Denmark such a good place and happy place? Well, what makes the place good for the most of us is that we have a security net if we should fail something in Denmark. Like if you get fired, you get sick or something like that, we get taken care of. And the fact we got free healthcare, education, free dentist work for students and low-income people, and we even get money while we study as adults, so we can focus on the study, because then we don't need a full-time job at the side to support our study. So it makes everyone able to take an education no matter what sort of income their parents or they have. We also have very low corruption. We have free media, we have free speech, and everyone can vote. We have schools that everyone can go to, public schools. And in Denmark you have to go to school. It's in the law, or you have to get home educated. And we have maternity leave for both parents, and a system that takes care of us as people from the moment we are born and to the moment where we die. If we need any sort of help, we can get it from the government. And it all sounds amazing, and we often talk about when we see politicians talk about us, and some of the debates we see in other countries where we are mentioned as either a good thing or a bad thing. I saw us getting name dropped a lot in the politician race in the States, both times that Trump ran. But all these free stuff doesn't come free. And we do pay taxes. And we have one of the highest taxes in the world. And we all pay a fair amount. Some pay 50% of their income a month as taxes. And most people will pay about 30 to 35% a month. And Denmark is not a cheap place to live. It's rather expensive to pay rent and buy food here. And some of the stuff actually have extra taxes on it because it is deemed unhealthy or some way or form. And we have something called moms that we also pay on everything. That adds another 25% to the cost of items. And we do this so we can have all the free stuff. We are also a country who has a lot of unions. Basically every profession in Denmark has its own union. And we even have a kind of union in the school system where kids are elected to a council on the school, and then one from the leaders of all of the schools in Denmark is picked to talk for all the students in Denmark. And they even get a chance now and then to actually go to the government and talk to all the politicians in Copenhagen about what they see the future of the school system being, or what kind of errors or mistakes there are in the school system. But because we have all these unions, it means that we can also go on strike if we feel that something needs to change. And we could do it in a legal way. Sadly, the last few times public workers went on a strike because the government was doing something, or we wanted better pay or better hours or something like that, or that we said this system is not working, we need to change it. The government actually stepped in the end and adopted a law that we were striking against. And it's a big problem because we are known around the world for having free healthcare, etc., etc. But when we have a problem that all public workers are saying something is wrong, we are being worked to the bone, we are not getting paid enough. If you look at our pay versus others' pay, something is not working in this system, something is wrong, we have to raise the alarm. Sadly, it tends to be us keeps saying something is wrong, and the government just keeps saying, well, you better just have to deal with it because we are not going to change anything. And that is a problem, since we are getting run over by the system, and the demand that is put on public workers is breaking the public workers slowly and steadily. And then all we praise and love about Denmark, that will begin to vanish. Due to the government not wanting to do anything about nurses and midwives, we're actually having a problem in Denmark that we don't have enough midwives to take care of the children. We are beginning to see nurses run away from the public sector to join the private sector because it's so much better than the public one. And all this, a government not listening, us getting worked to the bone, people leaving the profession, it's just a dark spiral. And it will all begin to go downwards faster and faster, and then everyone will begin to quit their jobs because they don't want to stay in the profession that are breaking them. And then the news about how bad the profession is will spread, and then we won't get new people to take the educations and then take the jobs because they know it's not worth their time. And then slowly and slowly we will begin to have a problem like we have with midwives at the moment. But for some reason the government fails to see this. And talking about politicians, one thing we sadly also have a problem with in Denmark is bad rhetoric. Politicians that don't use fact, they use feelings. And then they back it up with some bullshit claims to get votes. There was a politician saying, I feel that there is so many immigrants in Denmark, and then the numbers actually came out and it was less than 2%, but the person made it sound like it was like 50%. And it seems that this bad rhetoric is being used to use the fear to get votes. Even though most of the problems that are stated we actually don't have. And they tend to actually begin to show pictures of something that is happening where they don't show the entire picture. We have some politician that goes out and marching, and then they film what they want to film and only show that. They don't show what happened before, how they actually made people mad and encouraged them to actually say stuff. And it's sad, since it's hurting Denmark. We have jobs in Denmark that no Dane want to take because we find them disgusting or unworthy of our time, too hard or something like that. But new people that come to Denmark often takes those jobs and do them. And in the end, they actually help Denmark become a better place. But they face so much shit due to bad rhetoric from politicians and news. One good thing, though, about news in Denmark is we have a neutral news station that all Danes pay for. We pay for it by our taxes. And that makes it easier for you to find the right data. But often we have people who only watch news from Facebook or news sections that are designed to lure the people in with fear. And then in the end, it makes it easier for them to be lied to. And it's just what you see in USA, where they have two news stations, Fox and CNN, where they are in war with each other and one side don't believe the other side. So we do have a few problems, and we have more that I won't come into today. But I wouldn't live any other place. I love it here. And I do wish that every country had the same safety net and free schools and so on as we have, since it will lift the country up and make it better for everyone. But I also see some of the stuff that I've talked about here happening in other countries. like how the UK is now short of workers because they left the EU, so all the people who used to come and work for them couldn't anymore. And if you found something in this short segment, then I would love to compare it with Denmark. I always find it interesting to find out what happens around the world when you look at your world and the rest of the world. And if you want to share it, please come to my social sites and share it with me. And if enough people wish for it, I can do more about Denmark if you want to. And you can even help me select what you want to talk about. But I do hope that you will join me on my social sites. You can find me on Reddit, Facebook, Instagram, Patreon. And if you liked this episode, you can find the rest of my episodes on any podcast site and YouTube. And all that's left is for me to wish you all a very nice day.